right, it's 6:31. I'll call this work session of the mayor and council to order. Tonight's regular council meeting, we have the invocation. Pastor Cantrell or his executive director will be here tonight from Snellville United Methodist to lead us in the pledge. To lead us in the invocation. In the pledge, we have Michael Henderson, who is the president of the Button Gwinnett Chapter, Sons of the American Revolution, to lead us in the pledge. And then we have members of the Sons of the American Revolution Color Guard here that will present the colors to us as well.
While we're talking about that, just real briefly, as part of the ceremony, the color guard will actually be coming up on the podium behind the council dais and actually picking up the American flag and the state flag and presenting those. So you may want to scrunch in to the middle or move to the outside to stay out of their way, so we won't stumble over one another.
We then have the proclamation honoring the Snellville Historical Society and presentation of the Wall of Mayors. If we get done in time, we do have family members from the previous mayors coming. If we can do that between meetings, if not, we'll take some pictures then. Council minutes, we had some issues in the last council minutes, have really been corrected to everyone's satisfaction. Does anybody have any comments or concerns on council minutes?
You have.
No, they're all good. She checked mine.
Okay.
We're good? Okay. Invited guests, I believe we're gonna have one invited guest tonight, possibly, Tracy Mason-Classy, who is a candidate for Superior Court judge, was going to join us tonight, possibly. She does, we'll just recognize her at the appropriate time. Committee department reports, we have Chairwoman Marcy Ferris from the Board of Appeals. Snellville Tourism and Trade Association, will Don Britt be here with us tonight, do you know? Consent agenda, consideration action on the solid waste ordinance. Have you reviewed that, Mr. Overman?
No, I have not.
That was supposed to be postponed indefinitely.
Indefinitely, okay.
That was from last meeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we'll need to make a motion to have that removed from the consent agenda when we go into public hearing, second reading on the group home ordinance. Mr. Davis.
Yes, ma'am.
I assume everybody's had a chance to read over the package. The Planning Commission looked at this. Essentially what we're doing is we're trying to bring our ordinance into compliance or alignment, should we say, with the Gwinnett County ordinance for personal care homes, group homes, and other types of things. We've actually set up and gone through the definitions, and we've got our definitions in line with what State Department of Human Resources actually utilizes for theirs. The big difference that you will find in our current ordinance versus the new ordinance, one are the three definitions, one for the family personal care home, one for the community living arrangement, and one for group homes. We're essentially raising our bar on the personal care homes to sites to be 1 acre as a minimum for new projects. And we have actually knocked it down to be only in the residential zones, RS 180 and RS 150. The research that we've done puts this in line with the county. And it also, just for your information, there are 441 1 acre plus sites within the city that fall in these zoning designations.
How many?
441. So it's not like there's a dearth of sites. If y'all have any questions, I'd be glad to try and answer them.
I haven't received any emails, but I know there was someone here today. Do we expect a large crowd for this?
Planning Commission had a pretty good turnout.
John, to qualify, in addition to, you have the 1 acre and the other type standards, but under our ordinances now, this also is considered to be a home business or a home occupation?
Right. Under our ordinances, we consider this to be a home occupation, and it has to be run by a family, or the property owner has to run it. They can have help.
So the owner does not have to reside?
Yes, it is a home business.
Okay.
To be a home business in Snellville, you gotta live there.
Okay.
Do the businesses that aren't licensed but that are operating in Snellville, are they grandfathered in? If they aren't properly licensed?
If they aren't properly licensed, then no, they wouldn't be if we find one that isn't properly licensed. Now,
So if they don't have a home business license and they're
Right.
operating?
right, the one thing they could do at that point would be perhaps A, apply for a license, and B, if they don't meet the area requirements, they gotta ask for a conditional use permit, and they could ask for a variance on the acreage at that point as well. But that would take them through planning commission and y'all again.
Mr. Davis, I might ask you to do that statement again once we get in there. I just want to repeat it again, that if you are the owner, you have to reside there. I have a reason for that, so I want to record.
Well, one of the big reasons that we're pushing this is this puts us, one, in compliance with what the county does, so it kind of levels the playing field. The other thing is, this is, unlike most home businesses, you know, people say home business, you think in terms of, like, I used to be a landscape architect working out of my house. In Gwinnett County, I would be allowed 1 employee, I would have no client contact in my house. So it's a very low impact business. This can be a very high impact business. And our first loyalty, should I say, if you're going to allow a home-based business in a residential neighborhood, is to make sure that you're protecting the values of the residential neighborhood. And that's why we're looking at this and making it consistent with the rest of the county.
Any other questions? Go anywhere. Item B is Forest Hills Baptist Church variances. Mr. Davis.
Yes, ma'am. Better pass up the talk from. Forest Hills Baptist Church has put in for a conditional use permit to do some expansions and some long-term planning on their facility up on Mountain View Road. The property, if you check your packet, you have a map in there from them, and it's their 10-year master plan. You want to just look up here right quick? The bright red are the existing buildings at the church. The blue is the first proposed building. The green is the second proposed building. The athletic fields will remain out in the back. They're going to create a park area out there. This is an existing church site. Snell construction is here. The rest of this area around it is residential. It has a planted buffer around it already. They're asking for a couple of variances to go with this. One of which is to allow another monument sign. They have one small monument sign up at this entry point. They'd like to place one down at the intersection. The other is to allow the contractors who are building their new building to live on the site in their RVs. And the reason is the contractors they're using are a ministry that travel from place to place building church buildings. So they need a place to park their RVs and hang out while they build. The other is to allow them to place a metal roof on the structure so it will match the existing church buildings. Planning Commission reviewed this. We didn't have any crowd comments, and they voted to approve it with those conditions.
Mr. Davis. Okay, thank you. Next, Mr. Treadway.
The ordinance that you're looking at is to restate the municipal employee benefit plan that we currently have with the Georgia Municipal Association. This is really a housekeeping thing that they're going through right now, is they're restating their plan, and basically we need to approve it in order to maintain our IRS compliance. This doesn't in any way change the benefits or any other aspect of the plan. This is the defined benefit retirement plan that the city opted out of in, I think it was 2004, 2002.
Can you, in your explanation, somebody called me thinking that we were voting to give all of us retirement benefits, so in our explanation, can you make sure that's clear that
Sure,
that's not what this
sure.
is?
Yeah, this doesn't
Thank
add
you,
anybody
Russell.
to it.
Thank you. I didn't know that, but thank you.
Doesn't add anybody to it or take anybody off or in any way change the benefits that are being paid.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Treadway?
Just a couple of comments. I talked to Mr. Treadway earlier this afternoon, kind of get a little clarification on it. There are currently 14 people in the pay mode out of that benefit plan right now. There are 27 additional people that are currently vested that don't have anything coming out right now, not of age or whatever, but have been terminated, but had vested time into the plan. So roughly the fund carries about $1.3 million. And there's some fees associated with administering that program every year.
8,000 a
About
year?
About 8,000 a year.
It's about $53,000 a year distributed to, between 14 people that are currently on the payout mode, so.
We do have an assets to liability ratio of about 1.5, so it's a well-funded plan, not the typical sort of thing you read in the newspaper or the media about underfunded public pensions.
It's funded and hasn't been below the 100%, I guess, since 2000.
I think it's
What'd you
ever,
say?
I'm not sure it's ever been below 100%.
Okay, it's ever been below it's been like 118%
No,
of funded.
120%, yeah.
That's fine. Thanks.
All right, any other questions? Moving on to new business, mayor's nomination, council's confirmation of John Mitchell for Board of Appeals. I know somebody said last meeting they had questions. Were you able to get your questions answered? The nomination of Dexter Harrison for the Planning Commission. Any questions or comments? I see Clay Hunter. I spoke with Principal Hunter yesterday. He has spoken with his area superintendent, and there may be a potential conflict with the school, not with actually the school, but with professional standards. He wanted to be able to verify that there wasn't, and so I told him I would not take any action on that tonight. Consideration action on payment of city attorney fees. Councilman Mingle.
I think you've got my updated markup of the invoices, and we still need to get together. I think we have $3,760 that everybody seems in agreement should be paid. So I propose that we do that and then look at the differences
So y'all will meet,
at some point.
can we meet and we'll discuss the rest of the payment?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to bill the city for it. I mean, it's gonna take hours. I was telling Mr. Treadway, I've got 4 binders, I've got 3 litigation cases, I've got 4 folders of correspondence. It's gonna take hours to go through all those bills and answer all those questions.
It's up to council if they want to do, Mr. Oberman has tendered or is tendering his resignation effective at the end of this meeting, and so I'm going to again direct the city attorney that this needs to be paid so that we can move forward.
You the city manager.
City manager, sorry.
I think the city attorney would probably agree.
But
you can't answer that.
I'll motion that.
Not to check yourself.
All right, moving on then to the work session. Do we have any correspondence we need to review?
I mean,
Do we have a city attorney's report?
Yes, there was 3 pending lawsuits. Myriad filed suit regarding some lien issues. that they named the governor's office. Looks like one of those has been dismissed. It looks like they're still getting service on 2 of the lawsuits. They haven't perfected service on everybody yet. It's just a lien issue. We're just sitting back really to wait to find out what the other parties want to do. There's been some movement to move some parties up on the lien chain. Our exposure is like $1,000, but what I will do is probably transition that to the new attorney who's going to be appointed tonight. Or I can keep I could keep those. I mean,
Maybe in the morning.
it does. But those are I think are work themselves out. I mean, I'll be honest, I can't see spending $8,000 on a $1,000 exposure for a tax bill. So we're seeing where those are going to lie once all the services perfected on all the defendants. Mr. Davis and I talked about a matter that is regarding the Board of Appeals issue, and I think what probably would be best to transition that probably to new counsel. Again, we can take a look at that if we need to. And then Mr. Van Otteren and I have talked about a lease. We're trying to get opposing party. I've tried 3 times to contact to discuss a lease agreement for software that the city is using. I'm not getting any response on that matter. So those are where we're at on those current pending issues.
Thank you. Moving on, discussion items A, county city economic data report.
Kelly, you had requested a little bit of information at a meeting in January about comparing some of Snellville's business fees to other areas, and Mayor and Council, this is kind of just a quick and dirty kind of overview. I wanted to keep it really simple so that there wasn't a whole lot of information there, but you could kind of see that we are in a realm of similar to the county as well as a couple of comparison cities. The outlier is Lawrenceville. They base their city taxes on number of employees in the business, not on revenue as most of the other ones that I compared here and as we do. So that's why all you see there is number of employees, and it's based on a sliding scale to that. The 2 real differences to note is in the maximum fee, we charge $30,000. Yeah, $30,000. You'll see Suwannee and the county charge less than that. We really only have 1 business that even pays that amount. Most of our businesses are well below that. That means they're paying that amount. That means they're making more than $30 million a year in revenue, and so it's a very high amount of revenue. And the other ones fall well below that. And then the other one you see is just a flat fee for certain licensed professionals. We actually are lower, 300 to around us is 400. But what I'd like this to just point to you and keep in mind is really, as you look at this, the decision to locate a business is only minorly based on some of these issues. It's majorly based on the mindset in the community, how the people feel about the community, about a lot of other mindset and psychological issues, not about, and proximity issues to the things they need, as like logistics and so forth, rather than necessarily a tax base, as long as you're within kind of the frame of reference of your surrounding, and I think we could say we're there. So with that, I'll stop, and if anybody has any questions, I'll take them or answer them, but to keep it short.
Questions?
Not to put you on the spot, but what do you think the top 3 are? Not to change the subject.
For us, I don't know exactly, but I can tell you the hospital's the first one, and then the next one is probably Sam's, Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot.
No, I'm sorry, Tom, maybe I wouldn't. What are the 3 top reasons that people are picking Snellville?
The location, they like the location. They find the environment, like I got an email today, I'll be forwarding to you just to show you that, but we've been helping a business, and they said because of the help they've been getting from the city, they're looking only here to come here. So it's all about business environment and how friendly we are in helping them, and the steps we make toward telling them and encouraging them that we're a good place to be. And that probably wrapped up in that is the answer to your 3 things. You do have to be, in a relative sense, competitive, but after that, it's all about meeting their needs.
Any other questions?
Any other cities have as aggressive a program as we do?
I don't know that, I mean, if you just look at these, we're in with everybody else. Russell kind of asked me that question a while back. He said, are we on the cutting edge of this stuff? And I said, no, but we do have a fairly aggressive, fairly new program. I would say we are in the minority of the programs that we're running and trying to move forward. And I think those are the things that people are moving to.
Thank you, Eric. Governor's Walk abatement. Councilman Sabah, you want to defer to Mr. Davis? Can I interject? We did have a meeting set up with the HOA president last week. I had to cancel, but he didn't show up, and he has not returned correspondence to reschedule, so.
He's one of the owners.
Oh, okay.
I know all of you probably know more about Governor's Walk than I do, but there are 8 houses over there that are in some form of construction. None of them are complete. None of them are occupied. We have an opportunity here with the adoption of the revised building code, and in August, the council adopted the abatement ordinance. It gives us a chance to go over there and try and clean the mess up. The 10 people who do live in houses there have got a real problem. You know, it's bad enough if you got vacancies, but when you have vacancies that have structural issues, you got real problems. One of those houses, 2615 Governor's Walk, was supposed to be torn down, and the people who owned it lost it in a tax sale before they were going to take it down, so it's still standing there. I sent you all my plan. We're prepared, if everybody says you're good to go with it, to release the letters to the registered owners tomorrow. There are 5 registered owners that I've been able to track down so far. We'll send those letters out, and we'll place a legal ad also saying that in 30 days, basically, we're going to be inspecting those units, and we will provide to the owners a detailed inspection of what would need to be done to bring them up to a level of code that we could consider them to be safe structures that someone could then get a building permit to actually complete. If they do not, then I'm going to recommend that we move forward with our abatement procedures. That may mean that we end up having to condemn those units or take them down at our cost and place a lien on the property to be satisfied later. I don't exactly know when that would be. But we deserve a better situation than we've got over there. The people who live there deserve a better situation. We have the ability to do this. I feel very strongly that the quality of the neighborhoods deserves a cleanup. And if we can't get that one done, we can't get anything done.
I think there's a strong possibility of somebody getting hurt in one of those buildings, and I think there's one over there's that 2nd-story balcony is held up by sister 2x8s.
I don't think they're 2x8s. I think they're 2x4s.
Really? I don't, I can get them there with that, but I mean, you know, somebody gets on that deck could come down. I mean,
Yeah.
it costs a lot more money to settle something like that than it would.
The only saving grace of that neighborhood is it has no pass-through street. There are no small kids that I could have seen living in there, and it's not something that people can get through very easily. Outside of that, we'd probably have a problem for them.
You said there were 8.
Yes,
that were
ma'am.
not complete, and you're sending out letters to 5.
So one person owns 3 of them.
Okay, that's my question, thank you.
We did have an occasion this week. I've gone ahead and done an inspection on one unit because one of the things I really feared happened. Some people showed up in my office and they were looking for a permit to finish the electrical on the unit they had just purchased. And I had to tell them that they might be holding the back. But I had an inspector scheduled, so I went ahead and inspected it to see if it was structurally sound. And it looks like it's okay, they're gonna be all right. But it was dumb luck.
So now there are 7, or was that?
Well, now there are
9?
7. Now there are 7. That's one of the 8.
Was it
I'm
one of the ones
still,
that The
Yes.
three? Okay.
No, it was a different one.
Okay.
It was a different one.
Do we have any vacant, do we have any empty lots over there?
We've got empty lots.
Okay.
We have lots of empty lots.
Okay. Is there a plan to clean those up as well? I know probably overgrown, I mean, is there a?
Well, they're overgrown, there's construction debris dumped in there, it's a QOL issue that we'll move on simultaneously.
Okay. So we're gonna attack the whole neighborhood.
Yes.
How's everybody feel about letting the media know we're doing this?
Let's see what we get back from the letters.
Just throwing it out.
Not right now.
I- If you'd like my recommendation, I'd say let's get the letters out, let's see what
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, oh, no, no,
reaction
no,
we
no,
have.
I'm just, yeah.
And then, when we've got something going underway and something positive has happened,
Okay.
I would much rather take it out to the media as a positive story of us helping improve things.
And that's the reason I brought it up, is I don't wanna forget that element if we get an opportunity to do it.
And I'm sort of the point guy, so if somebody has questions, send them my way.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Good job.
The gentleman that has been emailing Commissioner Boudreau is the gentleman that didn't show up for the meeting, so I know that there were concerns that we weren't doing anything. We have scheduled a meeting and he didn't show up. If we get any more emails from Commissioner Boudreau,
Doesn't
we
look
can let
like
him
he's
know.
gonna show up either, does it?
Well, he's working on a house without a permit, so he will be showing up.
Be in City Hall one way or another.
Don't go very far.
Don't go very far.
Next, we have the transportation